Can anybody raise their hand and tell me how many days out we are from the midterm? 100 days. A lot of voices out there. 100 days to maintain our majorities in Congress.
Please.
To make sure that President Trump's agenda continues to move forward. And the Republican Jewish Coalition is the only organization in the Jewish community nationally, across the country, from Florida to New York to Philadelphia, Chicago, Southern California, and beyond, to make sure that we maintain our majority.
Yes.
And if you want to see results about what happens when Republicans win, only look at your seats, because elections have consequences, and if everybody saw one of these are the consequences. Big deliveries. Embassy recognition in Jerusalem.
Yeah.
Pulling out of Obama's terrible Iran deal.
Yeah. Oh, Lord.
Nikki Haley at the UN.
Yeah.
None of this is possible without a Republican president and a Republican Congress.
Yes.
So, in order to do that, we want all of you to come back. We want all of you to support the future governor of California.
Yes.
In addition to him winning, everybody wins. It's a total movement, the grassroots level. We need everybody to turn out. And with that, I'll stop and turn it over to our incredible RJC National Board member, Richard Sherman, who's also the chairman of the Los Angeles Republican Party. Richard, the floor is yours. Thank you very much.
Richard Sherman's a part of the Rhino Central Committee that accomplished nothing.
Thanks, Alex. And Alex does double duty. He's out here full time, and he's also helping assistant director of the Republican Jewish Coalition, also in DC. I'm going to make my comments very brief because we all want to hear
Thank God.
from the future governor. There has not been a Republican who won statewide in 2006. This has to change with John Cox. With John running for governor, this will change. And it says a lot about John and the support that he has received. That he was able to handily beat our former LA mayor and County of Bill Gross. Republican Assembly member Travis Allen and a number of other candidates. As you may know, John's an attorney, accountant, and a successful businessman. He was raised in Chicago by a single mom, yet he decided to make California his choice to live here and work here. His platform is clear and direct, and we'll talk a lot more about it. Repeal the gas tax and stack California as a sanctuary state.
Yeah.
Make California great and make it great so people can afford to live here. We welcome John Cox, our next governor.
And quality and successful state of California. And let me tell you, we put a successful businessman in the White House, somebody who knew how to get things done. Let's put a successful businessman in Sacramento. We have to do this for our children. For our children's children, for the future of this state, for all California, because this is a wonderful place to live, isn't it?
Yes.
And we want to keep it that way. We want to get a better quality of life, and that's why we're involved in politics. That's why we do what we do, because we want to help people, and we're going to talk about that in this race. Let me tell you, because let me also say, God has been good to us. because he's given us Gavin Newsom. I mean, this is a candidate that makes Hillary look good. Like,
Oh, God.
right?
I don't think that's possible,
I mean,
but
forget about the fact of his personal life. I won't get into that.
you should.
Look at what he did to San Francisco.
Yep.
I was just looking at an article this morning about just horrendous conditions in his home city, the place where he really cut his teeth in his management style. I think you can see the evidence of his management in San Francisco. I was there exactly 2 weeks ago on Friday the 13th. I was filming an interview about the horrendous cost of living, about the housing crisis, which is a major element of what I'm going to be talking about. And a woman had taken out a full-page ad in the San Francisco Chronicle. I mean, this must have cost $30,000, $40,000, $50,000. I think Rush Limbaugh talked about it later on that week. You may have heard about this. And she signed it a fed-up San Franciscan.
Wow.
For now. Because she's on her way out. Like a lot of people in the Bay Area. And she talked about having to step over human waste and hypodermic needles. I mean, Gavin Newsom's answer to the homeless crisis is to hand out free needles and give people a secure room to shoot up in. Now let me ask you all, I mean, Republicans regularly get accused of having no compassion. But you know what? Is it compassionate to let people live on the street? Is that what you would do for your children?
No.
No.
God,
if your
no.
children were strung out on drugs or abusing alcohol, would you just give them clean needles and a secure room to shoot up in? No, you'd get them help, you'd get them services, you'd get them to transition off of abusing drugs and alcohol and back to be a productive member of society. Let me tell you, Gavin Newsom has no answer for homelessness, and he has no answer for anything else that ails California. And he's done us a huge favor because he's told us exactly what he would do as governor. First on his agenda is to double income taxes so he can take over our healthcare system. Now, I don't want to bring up old wounds, but have any of you had to get your driver's licenses renewed lately?
Yeah.
I mean, 3-hour waits, 4-hour waits, and that's just to get in the door.
Pretty much.
Do you think you want to have a healthcare system that's run like the DMV?
No!
Not a chance. Not only
sounds
that,
good.
but Gavin Newsom is defending the gas tax. He is defending reaching into the pockets of all Californians. Talk about a regressive, horrendous tax. Well, I'm telling you, I partnered with Kevin McCarthy, with Carol DeMaio, with a whole lot of people, and we're going to repeal that gas tax in November. And you know why? Have you seen these signs on the highways lately? The one, your tax dollars at work,
Sure.
SB1. Have you seen this? Our tax dollars for propaganda, right?
Right.
Well, you know what? We're going to be spreading the word. Carl DeMaio and I are going to do rallies all across the state. And we're going to make them, the politicians, responsible for the mismanagement of Caltrans. I mean, this is an agency that is one of the most mismanaged, corrupt, and wasteful agencies in the entire country. Caltrans spends $4 for every dollar Texas spends on building a mile of road.
How about that?
And instead of correcting that, instead of doing the right thing, instead of trying to get rid of the waste and corruption and mismanagement, what did they do? They dug their hands in the pockets of hard-working Californians. People that are literally struggling. I left a TV station in San Diego a few weeks ago. And I'd done an interview about the gas tax and talking about what we're doing with that. And I got stopped by the receptionist as I'm coming out. Her name was Susie. And she stopped me and she was almost in tears because she had told me that she had just had to move 25 miles to the east in San Diego because her rent went up another $150 a month. because we make it so incredibly expensive to build housing, right? With regulations and taxes and litigation and everything. And then she said, they raised my gasoline prices. I can barely fill up my car. So not only am I driving an extra 25 miles, and by the way, she's a single mom. She has to drop off her child at daycare, like a half an hour earlier, which means that she gets less time with her child, and she also has a higher cost because they charge her more for doing that, right? And then she gets hit with the gas tax, and then she has the higher rents that she has to worry about. And this is life in Gavin Newsom's California. Well, you know what? I'm not going to stand for it. We are going to turn this thing around. What you need to understand is my background. I see some very familiar faces here from the primary and from other places, and I love you all, but I want to talk about my background for some of you who haven't heard me before, because you need to understand the depth of my being about why I'm so passionate and driven to do what I'm doing. Because I got to tell you, I don't have to do this. Just like President Trump, I had a wonderful life. Do I sound a little wistful when I say that?
Okay.
But you know what? I need to do this. I need to do this because I can't stand corruption. And I grew up on the south side of Chicago. I had a mom who was, just a really hardworking, brilliant woman. 2 master's degrees from the University of California, Berkeley, my mom. She was a life master twice over at bridge. Anybody play bridge? I mean, she played with Omar Sharif and all these stars, Mary Crane and all these people. But she worked at a high school in the south side of Chicago. It was the high school she actually attended when she was a young woman in Chicago. And she used to come home and literally cry because she had to deal with principals in her schools that were very bad, that were just unqualified for their job. But you know what? They got their job because they were friends of the alderman. That is corruption.
Yep.
Unqualified principals. And those kids, there's a school was 100% African American. Those kids deserve a better shakeout of life. They could least ill afford to have a rotten education because they were starting out with 2 strikes against them to begin with. And not having the highest quality principals. My mom was highest quality, but you know what? Without a good principal, you don't have a good school. And that was giving those kids another strike. That was sentencing those children to financial death. Well, I moved to California. I discovered that California was even more corrupt than Illinois. Which, let me tell you, it took me 50 years to save up enough money to buy a house out here. But Illinois has had its own share of problems with corrupt politicians. If you ask an Illinois governor for his cell number, you're asking for his cell number.
Oh, brother.
All right, that's the last Illinois joke. But I did discover that. I discovered that California was more corrupt. We turned over our legislature to the special interests, the big businesses and the big labor unions who are combining to run this state into the ground. And that's the reason why life is so difficult here. That's the reason they didn't reform Caltrans, because they would have had to anger some of those campaign contributors and some of those employee unions. They would have had to get lean. They would have had to fire some people and redirect some people. And they didn't want to do that. And that's the reason our housing costs so much money, because of those special interests in Sacramento. And why? Because we have environmental extremists that just love CEQA, that don't want any change in CEQA. Well, you know what? We've got to build more houses, but we've got to build houses that are affordable, and we'll do that when we streamline and repeal and reform CEQA. For those of you who don't know, that's the California Environmental Quality Act. And it's become an incredible honeypot for trial lawyers. Now, I'm a lawyer. I'm a reformed lawyer. A recovering lawyer, whatever you want to put it. But you know what? We need to protect the environment. I'm absolutely an environmentalist, but we also need to make sure we build houses so that we can have living arrangements for our children. Our children are moving away, aren't they? You know, people like me with, you know, a little snow on the roof, you know, we want our kids to stay close to us. We don't want our grandchildren to be moving away. We want them to be living here, and that's becoming more and more tough. You know, the California dream lately is dreaming about moving to Texas. Am I right? Yes. Well, why don't we restore the California dream? And you know, the other thing that we're going to talk about in this race is water. I mean, water is the staff of life, is it not? I mean, it is entirely what we're made of, right? Aren't we 80, 90% water ourselves? But water is the way that we survive. I mean, it's important for our farmers. It's important for us. We are a few miles away from the largest body of water in the universe. At least the largest body in the world, right? The Pacific Ocean. Yet, at the end of May, Jerry Brown, you know, Gavin Newsom's godfather, signed a bill that's basically the Ritz-Carlton Act of 2018. And why do I say that? Because if you want to take a bath after 2022, you're going to have to pay $1,000 a day to do it. Because you're going to be limited to 55 gallons a day. Or you're going to pay a $1,000 fine. Did you hear about this?
Yes.
I call it the Ritz-Carlton Act because, you know, if you're going to pay $1,000 for a bath, you might as well go to a nice hotel room. And that's only partly funny, isn't it? Because I believe the people of this state have not realized what their legislation, what their political leadership. I just got through reading a book that Speaker Gingrich sent to me. Have you heard of this? There Will Be Water by Seth Siegel. Have you heard about this book?
Yes.
It's an exhaustive discussion of that wonderful country, Israel, and how they have turned a desert into an agricultural paradise, and they're using water for diplomacy. They're selling water to Jordan and other countries that are allies.
Yeah. I don't know about Jordan being an ally, but
Comparison.
they're playing nice now.
Intelligence, and that's innovation, and they've really gotten
They breed
detailed
fish.
down to a science.
Yep.
We've got the biggest body of salt water right next to us, but we also flush a whole bunch of water too into that Pacific Ocean.
Yes, we
don't
do. It's terrible.
And we also have a whole ton of snowmelt every single year. We also have neighboring states to the north of us, in Oregon and Washington, that have absolutely way too much water. We have got to figure out ways of making sure that this wonderful area we live in, Southern California, I mean, this is a desert on the ocean, is it not? And that's why people love living here. I love living in San Diego because it's a desert on the ocean. We ought to be able to figure out a way, abundance. Those of you who are as old as I am, remember a guy, Jimmy Carter, remember him?
Uh-huh.
Sadly, he told me he was never going to lie to me. That was good. But he didn't tell me he didn't know how to manage anything. And Jimmy Carter told us that we were going to have no electricity, that we were going to run out of food by the end of the 20th century. Remember that?
Brother.
We were going to have peak oil. We still haven't hit peak oil. Well, we have an abundance of water. We have the innovation and the skill and the management and the ideas, and they're present all over California. And we need to bring those to bear to make sure that we have water. And at the same time, and I know all of you agree with me on this, education is the most important asset that we have. Yes. Our children, I mean, it is such a trite expression to say this, and a politician does it all the time. By the way, I'm not a politician, I'm a businessman. But a businessman knows that you can't eat your seed corn A businessman knows that you have to prepare for the future. A businessman knows that you have to have a long-term view. And our education system is not being managed, is it? We have put our education system in the hands of politicians. We've made politicians, we put them in charge, we've made teaching a political job.
Yeah.
My mother was a school teacher. She hated the intrusion of politics. I want to see teachers paid like rock stars and baseball players.
And they could be without all the waste.
I want to see the money get in the classroom. I want to see a bidding war for teachers. And we'll have that when we have competition, when we have more charters,
Yes,
when
school
we have
choice.
more competition, when we have vouchers, when we give the power of education to the parents where it belongs. I gotta tell you, there's a reason a bunch of billionaires, liberal billionaires, I might add, and Michael Bloomberg, God love him, a businessman, I don't know where his head is at sometimes.
Up his ass.
They spent tens of millions of dollars to try to keep me out of the general election, didn't they?
Yep.
Aren't you happy they failed?
Yeah.
Why? Ask yourself, why did they do that? They did that because they know that Gavin Newsom is going to literally kill charter schools. He has sold himself to the teachers' unions, and the teachers' unions don't want the competition. I mean, in my business, if I could get rid of the competition, I would. Wouldn't you? But would that be good? Because I could do anything I wanted to. I could be as low quality as I wanted to. I could charge as much as I wanted to if I was a monopoly. Monopolies are never, ever good. What did Milton Friedman say? If you put the government in charge of the
Sahara Desert, it would run out of sand.
In 5 years.
I was just thinking about that.
That's a lack of competition, and our schools have to be the best they can be, from kindergarten all the way up. And we've got to make it so that they're affordable and that they're not spending way too much of our resources, but we got to also make sure that we pay our teachers as professionals and treat them that way. I'm a CPA and a lawyer. I never joined a union. I don't need a union. I want to see teachers treated like professionals that don't need a union. Every good teacher agrees with me on that point. And at the same time, I don't know about you, I'm flying up, you aren't doing this, but I'm flying up on Tuesday to Redding, California.
Yes.
I absolutely think it's an absolute disgrace what is happening with our forests. I live down in San Diego. We bought our house in 2007 right after a major fire. I always say I got my house in a fire sale.
Oh.
And that's probably true because the whole town was shut down the week I was closing on the house. But we, in the 21st century, with the innovation, with the technology, with the resources, with the management ideals that we can bring to bear, can you believe that we're living in fear of forest fires even at this late date? I mean, the Native Americans knew how to manage the forests and deal with forest fires. Why can't we? Because of politics. It's naked politics. A whole bunch of environmental extremists raise a whole bunch of money at cocktail parties in Marin County, Gavin Newsom's hometown. Newsom's hometown. And they got to do something with that money, so they make it so that we can't touch the forests, and we can't manage them. We can't build roads in the forest. We can't cut down flare breaks, right? We can't thin the forest.
You got to do that.
And you know what? This isn't damaging the forest if you do these things. You're extending its life, and you're saving water, and you're doing
People
good
don't
things
value
for the
people,
future
they
of our
value
forest.
trees.
That's intelligent environmentalism.
They worship
isn't it?
Mother Gaia instead of Father
That's not
God.
just scattershot shotgun environmentalism. That's rifle shot intelligent environmentalism, isn't it? And we got to start doing it now. the essential question of the afternoon. I'm sure you have a lot of other questions for me. I'm sure you're going to want to ask me about immigration. I'll wait for that one.
That we will.
And the crazy train. I'm sure you'll ask me about that.
Oh, that's an easy one. Kill it.
But
That's
the
an easy
essential
question.
question is, how am I going to win this race? Well, first of all, and you'll be very pained to hear this, but I'm not going to be talking to you ever again. I'm only half joking. Because our polling shows that after the primary, we wrapped up 98% of Republican support.
Wow. Of course.
And I might add, by the way, in a very nice note, my former opponent, Travis Allen, endorsed me today.
She was the LA County Chair for Travis Allen.
Republican. And you know why? And you know why? You know, when I look in the mirror, I love to believe it's me. But I know it's not. Believe me. I'm not the ego guy here. That's the other guy. It's because of the ego guy. It's because of the opponent that I have.
We've got to stop.
That's why Republicans are united. Am I right?
Yes.
Because Gavin Newsom is the Thelma and Louise candidate. Isn't he?
Yes.
He's going to drive us over the cliff holding hands with Bernie Sanders.
Ocasio-Cortez.
You know what? I for one don't want to drive off a cliff. Do you?
No.
That's why we wrapped up Republicans. So I got to be honest with you, we're not going to do much advertising to people in this room. And I'm not going to give a whole lot of speeches to Republicans. I got raked over the coals Thursday by John and Ken, by the way. I don't know if you heard this.
What did you do?
They said, I haven't seen you in our studio. You haven't called into our show. And I said, guys, I love you. You helped me so much. You helped consolidate this report, this support. You helped keep Tony Villar, as you call him, out of the top two. Thank you.
Villain.
You served humanity doing that. But I need to win independents and Democrats. And you know what? I'm going to. I'm going to. And I don't know if you're taking it for me or for taking for Gavin, but let the message to Gavin right now. Good. Well, you know what? I don't care because I tell the same thing to every audience. I talk about the affordability of the state. I talk about the inequality, the real inequality of the state that protects politicians like Gavin Newsom and leaves the other people crumbs, leaves the rest of us, the 99% crumbs to try to skate by and try to get through a difficult life, driving 2 hours. I've been going all around the state talking about the forgotten Californians. Because I gotta tell you, most of the state is forgotten by the cronies in Sacramento.
Oh, absolutely.
And I was visiting with them just this week in Chino and Temecula. The week before, I was in Chico and Fresno. The week before that, I was in the Bay Area. And I'm talking about people that are struggling, that are commuting 2 hours each way. They get up at 4:30 in the morning.
Oh.
One guy in Temecula gets up at 4:30 in the morning, goes to a bus station, takes the bus to the train, takes the train into work. He's got a 2.5 hour commute if there's traffic. 5 hours a day he's commuting. He barely sees his family. And that's not right. You can't enjoy life if you're doing that. I'm sorry.
Right on.
And that's got to change. And that's the forgotten California. So I'm going to get a whole lot of independents and Democrats who just want results. Gavin Newsom is going to make this about President Trump, right? And why? Because the polls tell him that the president's unpopular in this state. Well, I'm not sure I believe all that. He's done a lot of great things, including what Richard and Alex talked about, the movement of the embassy, the staying up to Iraq, staying up to North Korea, staying up to the Chinese, staying up to the Canadians and the Mexicans. You know what? It's not not that he hates any of those groups, of course not. It's about getting a better deal, isn't it?
Yes.
When you don't have a negotiating position, guess what people do? They take advantage of you. See Barack Obama, who wanted to be loved by everybody, didn't he? And I knew him very well. You know, nice person. He wanted to be loved. But you know what? Unfortunately, if you're representing this country, you may not be totally loved by everybody else in the world, right?
That's right.
Because you got to negotiate deals. And they're going to respect you. They respected President Reagan, did they not?
Yes.
They didn't necessarily love him, maybe, but they respected him because he negotiated hard and he loved his country and he represented his country well. Well, you know what? I am going to do the same for the forgotten Californians. And you know what? They're Democrats and they're independents as well as Republicans. And they've lived this life and they've watched this Golden State go downhill. It's about time we changed it, and we will. And that's how I'm going to win this race. I'm going to be talking to those forgotten Californians. And I'm on the phone every single day raising the resources. You know, I put $5 million of my own money in this race. I say that. And I go home and I sleep like a baby. I wake up every 2 hours and cry. Thank you, John McCain. But I did that. I did that because God's been good to me, and this country's been good to me, and this state I love tremendously. I don't want to see it go down in flames. I'm going to fight to make it better for all of us.
Make California great again.
And that is what's going to appeal to those forgotten Californians. He's going to go Trump, 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 Trump. He's going to scare people on social issues, am I right? Yeah. And I am going to talk about results. I'm going to talk about fixing California. I am going to talk about great education, wonderful roads, of affordable housing, of getting rid of an awful gas tax, and making this state the Golden State once again. Thank you very much.
Ending sanctuary state. Don't forget that.
I'll do a couple of questions, but I have to make one point. So I just moved from Washington, D.C. And everybody said, why are you moving to California? Richard, so this state needs to be fixed. And if we want to do something, it doesn't just take people in this room to sit here and listen to these words. We need to get up, either write checks, either make phone calls, knock on doors, so it takes action. Action or money